Tea time podders around the world. It's very, very good to see you again. And James and Dave with you as always. And DT, last week we had a little bit of success. By the way, if you look on lateteatime.com, I'm keeping up the 2025 bets on there. You can look under late LTT tips, I think it is, and you can see our progress so far this year. Very much still in profit this year. And it was old Pugy. We were trying to work out how to pronounce his name last week. David Pugy got to fourth. He was just outside the playoffs, wasn't he?
Yeah, he finished like a train, like a Spanish train, but didn't quite get into that playoff. Yeah, so, and then we had the each-way double with Scotty Scheffler, and I don't say this very often, but Scotty Scheffler let us down. Only just though, finished 10th.
He was not too far away, and
no, he was sort of creeping there, but he just couldn't quite push through hard enough on the final round. But yeah, a decent enough week.
Hey, Rory, fantastic! He played beautifully, and Shane Lowry and co. Irish duo at the top of the leaderboard there. But we're going to start off this week, Phoenix Open on the PGA Tour. I'll run you through the top end of the markets there. And Scotty Scheffler, the aforementioned, got a little bit skinnier, hasn't he, after coming through unscathed, 3-1. Justin Thomas, 16s, Hideki, 18s, Sam Burns is 22, Sanjay Yim, 25s. And the rest are 30s or bigger. Sepp Straka played well last week as well, didn't he? So he's maybe one to watch as well. But maybe even Dave Tindall's got him on his sheet. We'll never know. We'll find out in a second. We come to you 2 weeks in a row now. We've done Wednesday, which is good. We come to you on a Wednesday to try and give DT that little bit of extra time. A lot of people write their previews on Mondays or Tuesday mornings for the week ahead. And we try and come to you late on a Wednesday, so we get a little bit more info from the course and the press conferences and what have you. And Phoenix Open, DT, is there any nuggets that have led you somewhere?
Yeah, one of my favourite tournaments, this one. It's the most attended golf tournament in the world. They have all that chaos at the 16th.
Where that gets a little bit out of hand sometimes, isn't it?
It does get out of hand. And I don't know, would you like to go to something like that or not?
I'd probably quite like to go to it and watch it from a safe distance rather than be in the middle of it.
Like up in a tree somewhere. Yeah.
I quite like the atmosphere, but being in the middle of it with beer poured over me, I'm too old.
With like the 20-year-old Americans go, woo!
That's a hell of a hole, though, isn't it? It's
like a wonderful viewing hole, yeah. And it probably would be a bit of a laugh, but yeah, I think I'd want to get in and out quite quick.
I was watching something online the other day, and like skim through the videos, and Tiger Woods hitting his hole in one on that that hole was came up on it, and that the crowd just went absolutely bonkers.
And the crowd went wild. 1997, I think that was. I mean, it's the ultimate thing, isn't it? Tiger of all people getting a hole in one on that hole.
Yeah. You could tell he liked it as well. He was watching it in the. You could tell he liked it, and he was right. Yeah.
We had a couple of holes in one last week, didn't we, actually? Rory and Shane Lowry, the top two finishers, both had a hole in one. So
I'll tell you what, I mean, he's not in the list going across the bottom of the screen, but Rory, he was playing proper golf. He looked like he was on song. And I was listening to the guys on the commentary, and they were saying that he's managing his game a little bit more. What he's done in the last year is he's tried to play as many golf tournaments as he possibly can. And they say that what he's going to try and do this year is be a little bit more targeted, give himself some time off, and really try and kind of build for the majors and then kind of have a bit of time off. And if the evidence of last week was anything to go by, the plan is working so far.
Yeah, and I think the other thing he said was he wanted to be a bit more like Scotty Scheffler in terms of just not making mistakes. I think with Rory, we've seen kind of his best is maybe better than anyone's best, but then his B or C game can really be a bit off.
Yeah.
Where Scheffler is always good, isn't he? So I think he wants to just play a little bit smarter, maybe in his old age, just because we love the thrill rides of watching Rory. We love the sort of highs, but he can just have these off spells where he shoots himself out of tournaments in 9 holes, but. So it might be, I mean, that kind of golf is perfect for majors. So this could be a massive year in the majors for Rory McIlroy because a lot of it isn't thrills and spills. It's like, it's just hanging around. It's just not making mistakes.
The sort of things that Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele do. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
And someone like Jack Nicklaus did it way back in the day. He always used to say, I'm just going to let the other guy make the mistake. I'll be up there. And it's why, if you look at Nicklaus's record, everyone says, look, he's got 18 majors, but he finished runner-up 19 times. I think that's a result of just hanging around, but someone had a bit more spark to go past him a few times. But
I mean, this isn't the Rory show, but I did notice he seemed to be, his control of the ball last week was just exceptional, and he played a lot of kind of half shots where he didn't go full through, and it seemed to me he was kind of taking a bit off his game to keep that control and to make sure he got that ball around exactly like he wanted to, which is clever.
Yeah. Even someone like Phil Mickelson started winning majors when he became kind of less thrilling. He just sort of knew what to do. I think when he won his first Masters was all giddy and exciting because he had that putt on the 18th, but his second one was just like, wow, he's just kind of cut out the rubbish stuff, and now he could win loads here. But so it's a hard one if you played up. If you've grown up being Rory and thrilling everybody all the time, it's maybe takes you a while to get to this realization that perhaps there's a slightly duller way. And if he wants to win more majors, it's maybe the way to do it.
It's probably more thrilling in the end to have the cup on your mantelpiece, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
But anyway, we'll probably talk a lot more about Rory in future. And I get the impression with him, if he did just get that monkey off his back and get one, he could then go on a run and probably win 3 or 4 quite quickly. But we will see how he gets on. Anyway, back to the Phoenix Open, DT. Who'd you fancy?
Well, I don't think Scheffler will be hard to beat. He's won 2 of the last 3. Probably should have won it again last year. But I'm not going to put him up at that price. But I think...
Well, when we spoke about him last week, he was more like 5s or 6s, wasn't he? And that was because of his hand. And you said, if normal kind of service has been resumed now with this price, hasn't it?
Yeah, and because he's got such great course form, it's a great course for him. He loves it. He's just been interviewed actually just before we came on air, and he said, as you might expect, all good, a little bit of rust. It was a nice sort of way to ease back in with a 10th. Now I think he kicks on, but because he's a big threat to win this, I'm looking at a couple of top 10 bets.
Okay.
And the first one is Luke Clanton. Now, do you know him?
You'll have to introduce me to him.
Yeah. So, well, he's an amateur. He's kind of made waves, making these really impressive performances and displays as an amateur. And he's got to the point where now there's a way of fast tracking amateurs onto the PGA Tour. It's like a university point system,
right?
So you gather points for your finishes. So he's got this university. What's the phrase? It's got university accelerated. I think that's the phrase. So it's a way of getting these super talented college players through, and you get points for doing well in PGA Tour events. You also get points for being high up or top of the world amateur rankings. So he's accumulated these points. He's got 19. And once you get to 20, he wins a PGA Tour card.
Okay, that's worth having.
Yeah, so basically the number boards have worked out. If he just makes the cut, well, I'm sure it wasn't that hard to work out, but if he makes the cut this week, he gets a tour card. So it's a pretty black and white deal, really. He makes the cut, you're in, mate. So it's a huge incentive for him. And if you look at how he's played since he started playing these events, I mean, he's been brilliant. He was 41st in the US Open as an amateur. Then a couple of top 10s, Rocket Mortgage and John Deere, 5th at the Wyndham, 2nd at the RSM Classic. And then he played Torrey Pines a couple of weeks ago, was 15th. So he's you can see it in his odds. I mean, suddenly this guy, you don't have to look too far down, and he's 40-1 or whatever.
Yeah, it was 11-2 for a top 10.
Yeah, so we're looking at top 10. He's had 4 top 10s in his last 9. Well, in his only 9 regular PGA Tour events, 4 out of 9. So that's good. 4 out of 9. That's on that evidence, you should be 11-10 or something to have another one. So you're saying what is 11-2 to finish top 10?
Yeah.
So he knows what he's got to do. I think it does add a bit of pressure, but I think what will happen if he makes the cut or by a shot or 2, he's done it. He's won his card. Then he's just freewheeling, and I think from there it's like a free hit, isn't it? And if you look at how he's played some of the weekends on some of these tournaments. So when he was runner-up at the John Deere, 67, 63 on the weekend. The Wyndham, when he was 5th, 62, 69 on the weekend. He's someone, once he's through the cut mark, he can really kick on. So I think that could be in play this week where, he might not be in the top 10 at halfway, but by the end of the 72nd hole, I think he could be. And that price I like. So Luke Clanton, top 10.
Makes the cut. You guarantee yourself a check. He's got his tour card. That's a big moment, isn't it? That.
Yeah.
And so, Luke Clanton.
So with that, he could either rest on his laurels and think, well, hey, it's achieved, but these young kids are full of desire. That me and you might do that. We might go, yay.
I'd be down the bit. I'd be in the bar.
Yeah, you'd be on the 16th, just necking Bud Light or whatever they drink. But he'll be going, no, they're different animals to us.
What's our mate called that had his shirt off on the 16th? That'd be me. I'm shirt over my head with, hey, I got my tour card.
Harry Higgs, was it? Yeah.
No, it was. We watched him on the Netflix thing, and he was having a baby. We wondered if it was going to mature him into being more consistent, and it hasn't.
Joel Damon, was it?
Yes. Yeah, he hasn't really matured him into being more consistent, really, has it?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sure he's very happy. We'll take a very quick break before we get your second pick, because we'll pay tribute to our friends at Manscaped.com. Quote late when you go onto manscaped.com, and you can get yourself 20% off. You can get yourself free shipping, and you can get yourself some very good quality gear. Regular as it was last week when I said that you were as smooth as a baby's bottom off the Manscaped thing. He was chuckling away on the YouTube feeds, but he can be as smooth as a baby's bottom if you quote late when you check out at manscaped.com. Anyway, back to the Phoenix Open. We've had one pick, Luke Clanton, 11-2 to get into the top 10. These college students are rather good coming out of the US, aren't they? But who else can we look at?
Yeah, so Luke Clanton, it's his debut, actually. Although he did actually say when he was interviewed just before we did this podcast that he'd been watching this tournament since he was 10.
Yeah, like 3 years ago.
Exactly, yeah. He'll have all his mates drinking around the 16th. Yeah. What have you done with your lives? I'm about to get a PGA Tour card. So my second pick is someone who's been coming here a long time.
Sorry, I'm just looking at myself. I do have a body. I just look like I'm a floating head, don't I? But I've got a body.
Yeah,
anyway, carry on.
Yes. So Luke Clanton makes his debut. My second pick has been coming here since 2009. Very familiar face, Mr. Ricky Fowler.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I'm aware of his work.
Good. And what a storied history he has at this tournament. He should have won it a couple of times, messed up down the stretch. I think I was on him the year when he drove into the water on 17 at 33s, that was, and he missed out there. So he was second in 2016, fourth in 2017. Then in 2019, he finally got it done. And I think his granddad came to see him. He's got a Japanese grandfather. I think he was there to witness it. So this event that's been very special to him, he was a runner-up on his second appearance in 2010, finally got it done. So he'll always have this event in his heart as a great one for him. Made the top 10 a couple of years ago as well. Miscut either side of that, but that's kind of reflective of his struggles in the last few years. But as I say, he did finish top 10 a couple of years ago. Some good signs, I think, of late as well from Ricky Fowler. So I think a top 10 is certainly within his within his range this week for given his love of the course. I thought he did some decent stuff. He's played twice this season. 21st, the American Express, shot second round 62. And then at Pebble Beach, good start. He faded away a little bit, but he did start 68, 68. I do think there's some good golf left in Fowler. He was fourth at the Zozo Championship. That was in Japan before those two events. So he did finish 2024 in good spirits. Just think he's had to maybe just shake a bit of rust off, get going again. And what a perfect venue for him to knock off another top 10. I thought the price looked good.
6-1, top 10.
Ooh, yeah.
So until he's going to get a lot of support around that course. The vocal crowd that we've already spoken about will be very vocal for him, won't they?
Yeah. Any former winner, he knows he's a bit Hollywood, isn't he, Ricky Fowler? He knows how to play to the crowd. Always a fan favourite. So he did actually. It wasn't at the 16th, but he did actually have a hole in one at the 7th par 3 a couple of years ago. So it's got all this great history at this tournament. I think he's shown enough signs for me to make that top 10 bet again, because he's had 5 of them, I think. Here,
I hadn't really seen him interviewed a lot, Ricky Fowler. Not heard him speak a huge amount, but then he's on that Full Swing Netflix thing, the second series of that, and I think he comes across really well, really nice fella, and he looks very different when he's taking his cap. He always wears that cap, doesn't he, with a kind of straight brim. And he's actually quite a good-looking lad underneath that, and got a very beautiful wife or partner and a very nice house. But comes across really well on that documentary.
Yeah, I once interviewed him at St Andrews briefly, and he just looked. When like someone walks into a room, he just looked like, I don't know. Back then, he had the sort of straggly California hair going on, and that's very much like a sort of that sort of California tan. And I don't know, I was just interviewing. I thought, God, this feels like I'm interviewing Elvis or something. He just looks so famous and healthy. And so I've always liked Ricky Fowler. He speaks well. I've always thought he speaks well,
he's good looking lad, isn't he? Anyway, that's we have another podcast for good looking golfers, but this isn't it. And we are certainly not examples. Well, DT's obviously very handsome. And anyway, anything else on the Phoenix Open?
No, we'll leave it there with those 2 top 10s. I think they're quite juicy prices. So,
So after a little bit of reminder that betting radio exists, we'll head to Qatar, everybody. Do you enjoy the Late Tea Time podcast? Well, there's every chance you'll also love betting radio. You'll find Dave and James on there, plus plenty of other betting experts. Mix that together with some great music and make betting radio your new favourite radio station in 2025. Visit bettingrad.io to read and listen to all the latest previews, or download the Betting Radio app at the Google Play Store or the App Store. Betting Radio, the best music and the very best tips. Always gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information. Always gamble responsibly. Anyway, we've done the Phoenix Open. Let's have a look ahead to the Qatar Masters, which is the other big event on the horizon. Do you say Qatar, DT? I've heard lots of different pronunciations of that place.
Like Qatar. Yeah, Qatar.
Yeah.
What are the other ones?
I've heard even somebody say Qatar as if there's a U in it. But anyway, the top end of the markets for the commercial bank Qatar Masters, Laurie Cantor, who's in very good form at the moment. He's 12-1 best price. Jordan Smith, he's 20s. Jorge Campbell is 28. Johannes Veerman, he's in there at best price of 30s. 33-1 for Antoine Rosner, and the rest are bigger. DT, Qatar, who wins?
Qatar, yeah. So, I've always stressed the second syllable. So it's Qatar rather than Qatar. Does vary. I mean, you need to ask a local. It's like with sort of Russian, isn't it? You'd stress a certain syllable.
It always annoys me with Abu Dhabi when people call it Abu Dhabi.
Oh, that's wrong.
That's just wrong. Yeah.
Who's saying that?
Oh,
well-spoken Southern people.
Yes, basically.
Yeah. Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, and it's not. It's Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi do. Anyway, Qatar.
Yeah. Oh, I almost went into an impression of Abu Dhabi there, but I won't do it. Dear, oh dear.
Get us taken off the internet.
Yes, I know. Those who know me will know what it is. Yes, so Qatar.
Steve Coogan can get away with it, but you can't.
No, I can't. Sticking with accents, we'll go with a French accent, Antoine Rosner.
Yeah.
He's my pick here.
Okay.
So a little story with him. We come to this podcast late. So he thought he might be playing in Phoenix this week because he's won his PGA Tour card from finishing in the top 10 earners on the DP World Tour last season. So he's got like dual membership. So he's played a couple of events in California, and he thought he might be in Phoenix, but he said, I was hoping to play on the PGA Tour this week, but I was still on the reserve list on Monday morning. So he was thinking, shall I just hang about, hoping somebody pulls out? And he went, nah. He said, I looked at the entries, was still...
Is that how the Frenchman goes? Nah.
I looked at the entries, I said, no. And then he said, I'm just going to go to guitar. Allons-y, let's go. So he thought he'd go to Qatar. It's not guitar, is it? Qatar. He'd go to Qatar, where he's won before, not on this course, but he has won before. Yeah. So I think he's basically thinking, rather than just hanging around and I'll make a positive, proactive decision, I'll go to this place that he really likes. He says it's been a good place for him. He feels comfortable there. So he didn't win on this course, but he was 6th on this course last year. And if you wind back to the end of last season in the Middle East, he was 6th in Abu Dhabi, and he was 3rd at the DP World Tour Championship. So he loves desert golf, plays really well on the desert swing. He might have done well in Phoenix, to be fair, because that's a desert. But
well, you mentioned 6th. Because the bookies are offering 5, 6, or 7 places. So would you take 6 rather than 7?
Is this the outright market you're telling me?
Yeah.
Give me his odds.
You can get him 33 to 1 for 6 places with Unibet, BetMGM. You can get him for 7 places with Ladbrokes at 28 to 1. And if you take it down to 5 places, then again 33 to 1, I think, for 6 places is probably the best price.
We'll go with that. So we're playing for that. So he loves the region, loves this country, loves the golf course, but we'll also throw him in as a first round leader bet.
Okay.
In those 2 American events, the American Express and the Farmers, although his final results were miscut 48th, he actually shot a 67 in round 1 in both. So here's a guy who can start fast. So I think I like that angle. I can sort of envisage him being interviewed after round 1 when he shot a 65, leads the way, and he'll tell that story that he came across rather than hanging around in Phoenix. So I think this could be a big week for him.
So pleased I did not catch that plane. 50 to 1 for a first round leader, 6 places.
Yes, bit of that as well.
So we'll have a little bit of that as well.
I'm not sure of his tee time, but I did look at the weather, and it's consistent throughout the day. So there's no he might be on the wrong side of the draw. As we speak now, I think the weather it's a bit of wind, but nothing. It's consistent throughout the day, so I think he can definitely make his mark.
Marvelous. So Antoine Rosner goes on the betting slip. Anything else this week?
No, I thought about Pablo Larrazabal,
who was in the playoff, wasn't he?
He should have won, shouldn't he? He 3-putted the final green in regulation time and should have won, to be honest. And I did think maybe that'll hang over him. I know he's done really well in Qatar as well. He's twice been the first round leader. Let's do it. Let's put him up for first round leader. I think all that should have last week might get to him in the end, but I think he might just benefit from getting straight back on the horse here.
80 to 1 DT.
Yeah, it's a tempting price, isn't it, for someone who's just finished runner-up the week before in another desert tournament.
Have a little bit of a go on both of them, and you've got basically Antoine Rosner and Pablo Larrazabal on your side for the first 18 holes.
Yes.
Yeah, why not? Anyway, that is pretty much it done, isn't it? We've been rattling on for not 25 minutes. Thank you ever so much for watching and for listening later. And we will see you again, roughly around about the same time next week. DT, you got any big plans for the week?
No. I could make something up there, but I haven't at all. No. Have you?
Well, thanks for that fascinating anecdote. It was,
being honest.
It was marvelous. I've got nothing to do. I'll just sit here waiting to speak to you next week. Probably won't even move.
I was meant to have quite a sporty day tomorrow, starting with a bit of yoga in the morning. I'm doing that. My game of snooker has been cancelled. Mate, couldn't do it. But I might work on my putting. I want to get back out on the golf course again. So I've got like a little putting gizmo, so I might give that a go.
Matter of weeks away before I start thinking about golf. Not far. So watch this space, everybody. Watch this space. Anyway, watch this space as well next week. We'll see you then. Thank you for manscaped.com. Late when you quote on the manscaped.com website, you get yourself 20% off and free shipping. Thank you, Dave T. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Cheers all.
Always gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information.